Hi, what's going on guys? It's Almond. Welcome back to another Wizard101 video. In today's video, it's going to be a complete guide to Portal of Peril. This will not just be only specifically on Portal of Peril, but as well as a complete guide to the Sinbad Gauntlet, because during this event we currently have Sinbad, and whenever we do have the other ones returned, I will do separate videos for them just so people don't get lost. But this one's particularly about Sinbad, as well as some introductions to Portal of Peril. So if you do enjoy this type of content, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, all type of stuff. Join Discord. Appreciate everyone that joins Discord, as well as anything I show in this video image wise that I've been making on slides will be in the Discord. So if you want to look at that in your own time, go for it. And the Discord slides will be updated more frequently than the video, because videos take a little bit more time. So there's that. Also, I appreciate everyone that does subscribe. Hopefully we can get to 6K. That's all I really want to say. Not much else to say. But let's go over like the best event in Wizard101, which is Portal Peril. Now, I know I'm a little bit behind when it comes to this, just because I've been busy with college work. I mean, you guys can't really blame me for that. But we do have a complete revamp to Portal of Peril. Now, before there wasn't this many rewards on Portal of Peril. They increased the amount of rewards that you can get on here, which is very nice. And there's two sources of you can get points from. So that's defeating the Iron Sultan, which is the final boss of the gauntlet. And then there's a secret boss that you can farm as well. Well, not really farm, but complete in the dungeon, which is the Metallossus or the Leadite, which we'll go over in this video as well. So every time you do a run, you realistically should be getting 37 points every time. Unless for some reason you guys fail at killing the Metallossus and Leadite, or you guys just skip over the fight completely, then it's a completely different scenario. But you should be doing both fights. Now, defeating the Iron Sultan will award you 10 fortune coins just by killing him. So you will be getting your points, but as well as killing him does award you 10 fortune coins, as well as you can still get the regular like drops from the gauntlet. So don't think about like, hey, this is Portal Peril, I'm not going to get loot. You will still get your loot. So don't worry too much about that. And then Metallossus or Leadite will still drop you the rock mount. So if you are trying to get the rock mount, the one that gives you extra pips, they both drop it. Both Metallossus and Leadite in Portal Peril. Now if you're doing the Gauntlet, it's a separate story. You have to fight the Metallossus. But in Portal Peril, I have actually gotten it as a drop from the Leadite as a permanent. Not a 7-day, as a permanent. So hopefully the wiki can update that whenever they get the time. So that's all I really want to say about the rewards section, I guess. Other than that, on the meter, there's a lot of rewards. So you get, I believe, like 10 from here, 20, 30, 35, there are another 35, 75, another 75, another 75, and then 150. You get a lot of coins. Now, basically, you want to visit Madame Magda. Hopefully, I'm pronouncing that right. But if you visit her, you can get like a little introduction if you want to talk to her. But we're going to be going over the reward section real quick and what to spend your coins on, because I know a lot of people are going to have their own opinion on this, and it depends on what you need as a player. Now, if you want to get gold keys, sure, that is up to you. I don't really do that, at least at the moment. What I do recommend is get yourself some spellements. Now, I wouldn't particularly buy the Arc 1 and Arc 2 spellements. There's already guides on it on the channel. Do that instead. Do not waste your coins on these. 100% do not. Do not. Now, another reason why you shouldn't be spending other things on is the Claw, the Dream Water. Claws are easy to farm. I will eventually make a guide if I need to, but this is really just for the people who are farming low level gear. So if it's for max level players, don't worry about this. But there's Dream Water. Don't buy it from here. Crash is an easy source. Freddy's an easy source. You should not be buying Dream Water from here. Elemental Retriever is a good reason to buy. I'm not going to argue, because there is a gauntlet that people farm for Elemental Retriever. And I can understand if it's very annoying. So this is completely justified. Go for it. Event spellment for your school or a random event spellment. I'm going to cover them together. I wouldn't buy the event spellment for your school unless like you're really close to finishing out your tier 5, then yeah, sure. But if you're going to, play on every single school at that point, just spam buy the random event spellments, which is what I've been doing. So over time, I've been like maxing out the spells just because I play on every single school. So I would just do that instead of getting the one that's targeted for your school, in my opinion. The lore spellment, that is up to you. I don't really do that because, it's more efficient in my opinion to go craft a gold key gate or do it with multiple people. That is way more efficient in my eyes. So don't spend your money, or not your money, well, don't spend your fortune coins on this either. That is just my opinion. You can do whatever you like, but I think it's just better to do the random event spell elements. Unless you play Beast Moon like a lot and you already have these spells maxed out, then it's a separate topic. So yeah. And then Pixels don't buy, Pollen don't buy either. The random lore, yes, you can do that. Like I said, I wouldn't do lore spell limit for your school. I'd rather do this because you only get one spell limit from here for 6 coins. But yes, it is targeted to your school, while this gives you 6 different ones for different schools, right? Including your own. So that's why I choose this over that. And then Spiritual Retriever, same argument as LE Retriever. They're both annoying to get, so it's just up to you. And then turning tokens, if you do tournaments, but I'll be honest, tournaments are dead. Yeah, they need to do something to it. I'll make a separate video, but I don't want to spend too much on this topic. But yes, so those are the basic rewards and my thoughts and opinions on those. So whatever you should buy. I think the event spell elements are better to buy, and it's not just whatever's shown. There's a lot of event spell elements. I will quickly go over them because I don't want to spend too much time on it. But that would include like Monster Mash, like I almost have this maxed out, for example. As well as, where's the other spell? I don't even know if I have, oh yeah, Dream Golem. Like the Golem spells, Mash, Thieving Dragon, like all those. Life as well, I believe, I forgot the name of it, but Life has one as well. I think it's Price Worm. Those types of spells. So event spell elements, in my opinion, are better. And having tier 2 Sprite Swarm is really good for advanced content. So I will say that. But now that we've got the rewards out the way and like, you know, how to do all this stuff, let's go with the gauntlet and the cheats and how to farm this, because I know some people are going to be like wondering since they're going to be on team up and stuff like that. Another thing I do want to quickly clarify is that redeem these every day. They stack over, they carry over. That's why I'm at 12. And if you are a member, you do get an additional 2 credits from what I've noticed. So if you aren't a member, you can still play this event, but you only get 2 per day, while members get 4 per day in total. So that's another thing that you should remember. So let's quickly go over the Sinbad Gauntlet. I will have some footage playing in the background. There is a couple mob fights. I believe in total there is 3 mob fights, a secret boss, which I mean is Metallossus or Leadite, as well as Iron Sultan at the end. So in the minion fights, I'm just going to combine this all into one section. They're very straightforward fights. I shouldn't have to explain minion fights too much just because everyone knows this core mechanic of the game. But if you want to have all 4 of your players hit with an AoE, go for it. If you want to have one person go for it. If you want to do Scald and Incendiate, go for it. Just keep in mind you'll have to adjust your deck every so often, which is the annoying portion. So just in my opinion, just have one hitter. That's just how I've been farming it on the side while doing college work. So I just have one storm hitter, and that's just how I've been farming. So if you want to have one storm hitter, go for it. If not, you can have everyone hit if it's like a team up scenario, because I know not everyone's going to listen to you in team up. That's just how people are in team up. I've learned that the hard way. So do it their way, or basically if you're in a team of 4 and you guys are farming this, hey, have one hitter, mass feint, pretty straightforward. So do that for all the minion fights. That includes the Metal Tar, the Chrome Clops, or the Chrome Caplice, however Sinbad says it, or the Steel Ton, the Steel Skeletons. Yeah, just they're very straightforward fights. But now let's actually go over the important fights, or at least one of them first, which is the secret fight. Now the secret fight is through like a little passageway, and I will show footage in the background so you won't get lost. But it can spawn it can spawn 2 separate mobs. You could either get a Leadite or you can get a Metallossus, right? And one of those will be spawned there, not both of them. It'll be one of them. So we can quickly go over the Leadite one, because that one is kind of like the one that spawns more often than the Metallossus. So let's quickly jump over to the Leadite. Now the Leadite has 3 different main cheats. Lead is heat resistant. If Leadite is damaged by damage over time, then he'll basically cast the following spells in order, which is Chromatic Blast, Frenzy, and then hit you with an Iron Curse, tier 5. Not really that big of a deal. Just you can't really Skull and Incendiate in here. I mean, and you'll see why. So basically, whenever you kill Leadite, he splits into 2. So that's why he has a cheat, My Half-Life means you're half done. So he splits into 2 separate entities. And then once you kill those 2 separate entities, you will say another cheat where it's like, even my half-lives have half-lives. So then it turns into 4 mobs. Now it's a little bit glitchy on screen. You might see like a bunch of mobs in the center. Hopefully they can fix that. I think it's just a visual issue. But that's basic premise of this. And then after you kill all those 4, you're good. You don't have to like keep farming this guy over and over. The basic premise, there's 2 different strats. So I'm just going to go over, but you get the idea. You kill him once, he splits into 2. Kill the 2 mobs, he splits into 4 altogether. And then just AoE. Yeah. But here's I guess an easy strat. I'm just gonna post on screen. By just having 2 storm hitters, you can basically feint stack into a Stormzilla to kill him once, and then after that you can have another storm hitter hit with Stormlord to kill the other 2 minions, and then on the final round you can just go for a Tempest. Now of course if your damage is lacking for Storm 2 specifically, just where I put pass or buff Storm 2, just give him another buff, just because I don't want to hard lock this on how much damage you need, but it's kind of straightforward, so you should be fine for the most part. And yeah, I believe I calculated based on 230 damage, which most storms should have. If you don't have 230, you are lacking in this department of gear, and I can't really help you there. So that's that. And then if you are having 1 storm hitter, here's another strat which requires 1 person to at least have storm weaving, and I feel like people should be doing storm weaving by now. I've made it like very important in a lot of my videos. I will be including these because it is a very important thing that you should be doing, which is storm weaving rank 1. But basically it's just feint stack, but with the Kraken. Make sure your storm hitter, this is just with 1 storm hitter, has at least 230 damage with 36 pierce, specifically storm stuff, which I mean I shouldn't have to clarify, but there's that. And make sure you have at least 1 person with storm weaving so you can get that 55 blade, and then you can kill with the Tempest. So you can kill you can use a Tempest to kill the first half-lives, and then after that you can Tempest again to kill the half-lives of the half-lives. Yeah, that's the basic premise. And you can pause and look at this, whatever, but there's nothing else I have to include right there. Now if you are like a fire hitter, storm hitter, you guys can do the math, you guys can figure it out. If you want me to make strats for myth hitters, fire hitters, let me know in the Discord. But I feel like a lot of people are just gonna have a storm hitter just because it's better. So if you guys want me to make strats for myth and fire, let me know in the comments down below, or let me know in the Discord, ping me. So there's that, and I'll add them to the slides in the Discord. So hopefully that can help you. Now the other secret boss that can spawn here is I believe the Metallossus. Now the Metallossus is a very annoying fight. Yeah, I don't know what they cooked when they did this, but basically he's a whole dispel mechanic boss. He has dispels in his deck. He is very much dispel oriented. He has judgments that give you dispels. Very annoying, very tedious. But basic TLDR, I know that he has a lot of cheats. So at the beginning of the round when you join, he auto casts a judgment that gives you 2 dispels on every wizard. It's the same dispels. So for whatever person 1 gets is what person 2, 3, 4 are going to get. That's the whole premise of his only dispels can pierce my metal. And then if you hit him while still having dispels on you, it will basically transfer those dispels to him. So that's why he says smart move, and he will just take those dispels. Now the other cheat he has is once he reaches, I believe 6 or more. I don't think it's actually 6 because I've had an instance where he had 6 dispels and he didn't put this trap on him. But basically he's immune. He has 300% resist, and if you try piercing or like try doing a pierce strat, it's not going to work. You're just going to remove him. But essentially what you just do is if he has 6 dispels, it activates a cheat, but sometimes it's very weird. So I would just recommend that everyone just remove your dispels and put them on him so it's not glitchy, I guess. But basically once he does that, he puts a 300% pierce trap on him once he reaches 6 dispels on him. So 6 or more. I'm pretty sure it's more, just because, like I said, it's been glitchy for me. And keep in mind, once he does achieve this, he will summon a minion and just yell out fragment, and he'll summon a fragment minion. And this fragment minion's annoying because you can cleanse ward and remove that trap that's on Metallossus. You can also cleanse charm. So if you try dispelling and stuff like that, it's very annoying. But you don't really realistically have to worry about it in the strat, so don't stress too much. And then of course once you kill Metallossus, he will summon another fragment upon his death. So basically you have to kill Metallossus and 2 minions. That's the basic TLDR, but he's just dispel oriented, so don't stress too much. I know when people saw this for the first time, they're very lost at why they're getting dispel spammed. That's just his whole mechanic. That's just like, yeah, I don't know. They cooked, but yeah, I don't know. So let's go over one of the strats, which is the one I feel like most people would be using, which is just having 1 storm hitter. Now, yes, you can have 2 storm hitters if you want to do that. Go for it, but I'm not gonna go over that strat. I'm just gonna go over the 1 storm hitter strat, which is you use shadow wand hits. Now, he doesn't have shadow dispels in his deck. You can technically, if you want to use moon Wand hits, yes, those exist, and there's one literally in the crown shop, but I'm not going to recommend that just because it's a crown shop item. A lot of wands that you can get from the bazaar have shadow wand hits on them, so make sure you all have a shadow wand hit. And there is a wastelander wand that you can use on your storm hitter, so you still have relatively good damage. And there's other wands as well that have shadow damage on them, or shadow wand hits, I mean, sorry, that still will help you achieve 230% damage and at least 13% pierce, which is very doable, very doable. But basically you have to hit him with something, and that will move the dispels over. Since there's no shadow dispels in his deck, we're just using that to our advantage to move all the dispels to him. And then once we do that, we're just going to feint stack into a Triton. Now there is a possibility of him casting an AoE dispel during his turn, right? Because he has an AoE dispel for every single school in his deck. So like for example, if he wants to cast a storm dispel, it will be an AoE storm dispel. It won't just be on the first target, it would be on everybody. So keep in mind, if that does happen, just kind of remove the dispel on yourself. So if you can carry like a low pip, 1 pip or something like that, just to get rid of the dispels, so you're good to go and killing him. So it's very much needed to go over. But there's a possible chance where he just doesn't, and he just does a single dispel, like a judgment or something, or he passes or something like that, or he does myth imp, and it hits the first person, of course. So that's why you just use sharpen elemental, just to save yourself some time. So if you do have a death dispel on you, instead of chalking it over, just carry an elemental blade, and that can be like your substitute if you get dispelled. And then same thing on the following round after that. So after you do your feint stack into a Triton, you're going to want to kill both of the mobs, right? So we're just going to go for a Tempest, but keep in mind, if you do still have that dispel on you, and because you can put a dispel on you on person 1 as well as AoEs, just go for an Ellie blade, and that just kills Ellie blade, sharpen Ellie blade, as well as item sharpen Ellie blade. And with the Tempest, just kills, right? You have enough pips to just kill. That's the levels of damage we're at right now in the game. So that's it for Metallossus. Pretty straightforward of a fight, but having shadow wand hits makes it a lot more easier. So there's that. Now we've gone over the mobs, we've gone over the 2 secret boss fights that realistically it's 1, but one or the other can spawn. Let's go over Iron Sultan, which is the final boss of this Gauntlet Peril edition. So he does have some cheats, and he is storm balanced. Now the basic premise of his cheats we can quickly go over. So there is a golden dragon in that fight. So at the beginning of the round, or the beginning of the first round, the golden dragon will cast a shadow sentinel on itself. So it will be absorbing the damage from the other mobs, which is very annoying. And you have to kill the golden dragon first to be able to basically kill everyone else. Here's another cheat where if you use an AoE target spell on him, so let's say mass hex, mass storm trap, those types of spells, mass feint, because it is an AoE target spell, right? He will basically cast a dryad, like an AoE dryad that heals everybody on the team, as well as removes damage over time. So basically this mechanic is kind of like a Scald Incendiate preventing mechanic. That's how I think about it, because it removes it removes healing, or it removes damage over times on them as well. So you can't even do Scald Incendiate in this fight, which is why storms are very much nicer. Yeah, they're very much better. I can't speak, but they're basically essential in this whole dungeon, just because it makes it a lot more easier. So that's why we're going based upon that. But keep in mind when you use those AoE spells that he will do that. But if Iron Sultan is dead, he won't cast those spells. So if you use an AoE that kills Iron Sultan, yeah, don't worry, he won't cast a spell from his grave. So you don't have to worry too much about that. And then he has this other cheat where it's I am metal. If there is a feint or a mass feint casted on Iron Sultan, he basically will cleanse word twice. You can technically evade this cheat if you use a spell like, will cast fuel, or will cast hex, and then as well as using an indemnity to protect it. That kind of will evade the cheat, but it's not worth doing that in my opinion. It's just a lot more effort, and yeah, you could do that, but like I said, it's just not worth it. And then he has this other cheat, which is, to me too, it's very confusing, and the wiki has it wrong too. But to be fair, I don't think I understand the clarification of how this cheat works still to this date, just because I don't want to spend too much time testing this fight, but I just kind of went based upon my testing. but he says this one goes up to 11. Now on the wiki it says it goes up at the end of the 5th round he casts this, but for my testing this actually happened on the 2nd round, which is at the end of the 2nd round Iron Sultan will cast a 35 bubble, storm bubble, and then he will follow up with another cheat where he basically casts Iron Sultan on the wizard that has the lowest amount of HP. So you can go based upon your testing, but for my testing, it kind of just happened every time at the 2nd round. It's one or two options. It's either it happens every 2 rounds, or it happens on the death of the golden dragon. So there needs to be a little bit more clarification on that, but I wouldn't stress too much about that cheat because I wouldn't rely on the bubble too much, because then you get too used to it. But yeah, he does do this little cheat. So now that we got the cheats out the way for the Iron Sultan / Golden Dragon, just because Golden Dragon has one cheat, but yeah, Iron Sultan has the majority of the cheats. Let's go over the strats. So there's 2 different strats. I'm going to go over one that's a little bit more niche, and then the one that's kind of just going to be like the overall go-to one for the new players, like the players that don't have like the min-max stuff. But if we are trying to min-max some sort of stuff, is we do some feint stacks into a lightning bats tier 5. Right, tier 5 is needed because that will be just enough to kill. Once you kill the golden dragon, we're just using frenzy into a stormlord. Now we are using 2 hitters in this strat, but keep in mind if you don't want to stormlord into a tempest, right, on the 2nd round, you have to, well, basically you're required to have another person in your fight to have storm weaving done. Now this requires 2 separate storm weavers, and then your stormlord will kill every time. But for some reason, if you do not have a person, or if you don't have 2 players that have storm weaving done, but you do have 1, you can still kill with a stormlord tier 1. Now of course if you're saying tier 5 and stuff like that, you're fine, but I'm trying to make it more, I'm trying to make my strats more like user friendly. So if you do have tier 1, you're okay, hence why I'm labeling it tier 1. But if you do have 2 people that do have storm weaving done, your stormlord will kill. If not, you will require a tempest if you don't crit. If you do crit your stormlord, you're fine. That will kill Iron Sultan. But if you don't crit, you're gonna need that tempest. Yes, he will heal with Dryad, but he won't heal like a lot. He's only gonna be healing like 100 or like 900 or like around that. But that tempest is just enough to kill if you have the correct damage and pierce numbers. So that's why I have those labeled on the strat as well. But like I said, if you do have 2 people who have storm weaving done, don't worry about that tempest. The stormlord will just kill if you have the correct stats. Of course, if you have more damage, more pierce, that's nice, right? But I'm trying to write down what's the minimum that you need for Iron Sultan. So there's that. That's the strat you would just do. So lightning bats to kill golden dragon, and then stormlord, and then if you still don't kill, tempest will kill and kill the rest. So there's that. And then the other strat that doesn't require storm weaving, of course you can use whatever strat you want, but realistically we are kind of stagger joining in this fight. And the reason why you're stagger joining is just so that you don't get targeted by the mobs. These mobs are a little bit more annoying because the fact is they do have a steel pip in their deck, and as well as if golden dragon is facing across from you, there's a chance that golden dragon will cast a sun Ifrit that has a -90 on it. So stagger joining kind of just makes it a little bit more easier. Technically on the previous strat you can stagger join and you won't get targeted. Player 1 and player 2 will get all the hits, so it makes it a little bit more easier. But since we're only using 1 hitter in this strat, just make sure your storm stagger joins, and joins like after the sigil's already kind of like lit up in the fight. But basically just feint stack into a lightning bats, and we're also using frenzy to buff our stormlord and also buff our lightning bats, and you basically will kill. Now there's no damage numbers listed on here, like how much damage do I need, Almond, how much pierce. Doesn't really matter because your lightning bats is going to overkill, and your stormlord is also going to overkill with the amount of buffs. So keep that in mind. But also, if for player 1, if there is already a storm bubble up, if Iron Sultan did cast his cheat and he did hit somebody with an Iron Sultan, you don't really need to Ellie Blade because the bubble is kind of giving you a buff anyways, so you can kind of just pass his save animation time. It is up to you as a player if you want to do that. But it's a very easy strat, like I said, just feint stack into lightning bats and then just blade stack into a stormlord. Very easy dungeon, very easy gauntlet, and that's it. I try to cover everything as fast as I can in a short period of time because I've seen your guys' comments. Some people like it when I go a little bit more in depth and kind of like talk a little bit more about the fight because some people don't understand it, and I try to cater towards those players. But I will probably talk about this in a separate video where it's like, hey, sometimes the video could be too long. Some people enjoy that, some people don't, some people just want the information here and there. That's why I just have the slides in the Discord, just so if someone doesn't want to watch the video all the way through, they can just look at the slides. And then sometimes I have to clarify on some information in the video, like, hey, you can also do this, you can also do that. I'm not going to explain all that in slide formats just because there'd be a lot of information on the slides. That's why I always recommend people just watch the video first, and then you can learn a little bit more. That's it. But that's it for the Portal of Peril video. I will make another Portal of Peril video next month if it's a different one. If it's still going to be Sinbad, then I don't need to make this video. But whenever there's a new gauntlet in rotation, I will go over it because there will be new cheats and stuff like that. So I should cover it in a video. But that is it for me. Leave a like, subscribe, all type of stuff. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down below in the comment section, and as well as join the Discord. Appreciate everyone that joins the Discord. But that is it for me. I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Peace out, guys.